This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So basically, software testing. Yeah. So basically, software testing is a kind of the department in the IT company. Like in an IT company, like basically we have a two department. One is a development, and another one is a testing department. So in it, basically the development department, like the developers gather the like developers will get a requirement from the business analyst, and they will start developing the application. And after that, basically, like once the developer will develop the application, they will give it to the tester, software tester, and software tester will test the application as per the requirement. Okay, so the software testing is of two types. Software testing is of manual testing or of the automation testing. So in a manual testing, basically like most of the testing will be happening here. Like you can say 99% testing will be happened by using the manual testing, but around you can say 60 or 70% testing will be possible by the automation testing. The reason behind that is like automation testing will be possible for some of the features available in the application. So for like suppose we have 100 features in an application, so for all 100 features the automation will not be possible. So automation will only be possible when the features are stable. If the features are not stable, then the automation testing of those features cannot be possible. That is the point number one. Okay, so I will mark as point number one, point number two like this. So let me erase the automation testing as of now. Let me take the manual testing part in focus. And then the point number one about the manual testing is like almost 99% testing will be possible. Okay, will be possible. Now the next part is like inside the manual testing, what are the parts you will test? So basically you need to test different features. You need to test different features available in the application. Okay, so application can be of different types. Application will be a web-based application, or you have a desktop based application. Okay, so you will have the web based application, desktop based application, or mobile application. So in an IT company, basically the three kind of application you will get in the future. So basically if you talk about a product based company, like my company is a product based company. So in that company, basically we have a web based product, desktop based product, as well as a mobile product. So for all kind of product or all kind of application, you can perform the manual testing. Okay, and that manual testing can achieve 99% of the testing for a particular application. Now the third point is like whatever the defects you raise. Defects means suppose you have tested an application with 100 test cases. Okay, so I have already explained in the last demo about the test cases, like what is test cases. But again, like I will give you the brief idea about the test case, and I will explain you that part also. So suppose you have 100 test cases for an web-based application, and you have executed all the 100 test cases in the web-based application. After that, you will get suppose 10 defects. After that, you will get 10 defects. So that particular 10 defect will be raised to the developers. Okay, to the developers, and basically the developers will try to fix that defect and given back to you, given back to tester. Okay, once the developer fix all the 10 defects, the developer will give the particular application to the tester and ask him to do the retesting. Ask him to do the retesting. So what is retesting basically here? So retesting means testing for the defect only. Okay, not testing the entire application, testing for the defect only. So what tester will do? Tester will get an application, and tester will retest all the 10 defects what he has raised earlier. Okay, so after retesting, basically this particular retesting, you can also call it as a defect testing. You can say as a defect testing. So basically in the defect testing, what happened? This particular defect testing is also a part of the manual testing. Okay, and this particular defect testing cannot be possible by automation. Cannot be possible by automation. Why? Because the defect will be very random. Sometimes you will get 5 defects, and sometimes you will get 10 defects, sometimes you will 12 defects. and the defect specification is quite different. Sometimes you will get a defect in a leave approval, sometimes you will get a defect in the user management page, sometimes you will get a defect in a basically organization page. So suppose you have a different pages, you have a different feature in your application and you will get a defect, so that defect will vary basically. So whatever the things that is vary or dynamic, that cannot be automated. Okay, so that is a part covered in the manual testing. Apart from this manual testing, there is a documentation part. Documentation part in the manual is quite important. So what is documentation part? So in a documentation part, basically you have to write a test plan first, and after writing the test plan, then you will write the test cases. Okay, so that is a part of the documentation, and documentation is a very important part in a manual test. Okay, now next thing is the basically the your test lead, test manager, and testers. So these are the basically the persons who involve in the manual testing, who involve in the manual testing. Next is the defect tracking tool. Defect tracking tool, which is quite important in the manual testing. Next is a defect life cycle. And before defect life cycle, I need to add it here, SDLC. Not sorry, SDLC. Okay. So what is SDLC basically? So SDLC basically is a kind of a life cycle which is specific to the software testing only. Okay. So this is the software testing life cycle. So in a today's session, basically, I am giving you a introduction part only. Like it gives you the idea about the manual testing only. Okay. So there are like eight points I am illustrating here. So first is the 99% testing will be possible by manual testing. Second is you need to test different features, like different features of the web-based application, desktop application, or the mobile application. Okay, and whatever, like suppose you will get a 10 defects after testing the application, then that defect will be raised to the developers, and the developer will basically fix and given back to the tester, and tester will retest it. Okay, so that basically defect testing will not be possible by automation. That it is a complete part of the manual testing. Now the next is the documentation part. Documentation means what you need to write the test plan, and after writing the test plan, you need to write the test cases. So how you will write the test plan and test cases, that is a part of the course. Okay, and that is one of the most important topic, the test plan and test cases, which is a very frequently asked question in the interview. Okay, so this is a very important topic. Fourth one. Now the fifth one is the test lead, test manager, and testers. So these are the persons who involved in the manual testing team. Now next is defect tracking tool. So basically, like if you get suppose 10 defects, okay, so there should be a tool by which you can raise a defect. Okay, so that tool is called as a defect tracking tool. So you need to go inside that tool and you can raise that whatever the number of defects you found and then assign it to the developer. So that tool is responsible for that, and that tool is a defect tracking tool. And the defect tracking tool, one of the defect tracking tool is called as a Jira. So Jira basically is owned by the Atlassian company. So this Jira basically is a defect tracking tool which we used in our company. In most of the IT companies, they have used the Jira only. Okay, Jira. Other one is also Rally, and also Bugzilla. So these are the famous basically defect tracking tools which are used for the different IT companies. But most of the IT companies use the Jira. Jira or Jira, you can pronounce as your convenience. Next is the SDLC. So SDLC is a software testing lifecycle. So this particular lifecycle is only specific to the testing part, not to the development. Okay, and this last one is a defect lifecycle. Defect lifecycle means there is a lifecycle involved for a defect raise, then open, and then all such things. So that is the last part, defect lifecycle. Okay, so this is all about the manual testing. Let me introduce about the automation testing as well. So in a basically automation testing, like all the types of testing cannot be possible by automation testing. So like some of the types of the testing can only be possible by the automation testing. So as of now, I will tell you the few like topics in the automation testing, because right now you don't know about the types of testing and all. That's why I cannot write here the types of testing which is possible by the automation testing. So I will just write the only generic things which everyone know. So basically, first point is automation testing is done by writing test scripts. By writing test scripts. So test script test scripts will be written by the help of programming language. By the help of programming language. Third point is any programming language can be used. Okay, most preferred is Java. Okay, because Java is a basic language and Java is like most of the application available in the IT is based on the Java only. That's why most preferred is Java. Okay, if you know Java, then you should know a automation tool, and that automation tool is called as a Selenium. Okay, different automation tool is also there in the market, that is QTP, Tosca, okay, and so on. Okay, so basically the QTP and the Tosca basically are the paid tool, and Selenium is a free tool. That's why everyone can learn the Selenium with Java, and they can automate the web-based application. That's why in the today's era, in a recent IT market, the Selenium is most demanded, and the salary which the engineers are getting in the Selenium with Java is also very high. That's the reason. Okay, now after writing test script, you need to run first, and then schedule as per deployment, or and then schedule, you can say scheduling midnight. Human intervention are not there. Okay, it's not there. So these are the part basically, and last point is 99% testing will not possible. Okay, will not possible, unlike manual testing. Right, so these are the points basically you all should know, like whatever the fresher or the experienced person, they should know about the differences between the manual testing and the automation testing. Okay, they have their own importance. So if you see, or if you analyze it carefully, so manual testing has their own basically role, and automation testing has their also own role. So if you have the concept of manual testing as well as the automation testing, then you will have a good level, or you will have a good place in the IT company. That whenever a lead give you a task, okay, let's take a scenario. Whenever your test lead, you can say your test lead give an application to test within 10 days. Okay, but an application is very huge. So for first of all, you write a test case. First of all, you plan the test case, and then after that, like you will be going to execute those test cases in the application manually. Okay, so suppose you have written 200 test cases. Suppose I will explain you test cases in a bit later. So suppose you have written 200 test cases, and for executing all 200 test cases in an application which require 15 days. So obviously, if you are taking 15 days, so your lead will shout on you that I have given you only 10 days, so why you are going to require 5 more days? So you can tell like I only know the manual testing, so and I only know how to write the test cases, and I only know how to execute those tests in the application. Then only I will give you the quality product. The other person, other test engineer who has the manual plus automation expertise. Okay, so what they will do, manual tester will test 100 test cases and automate next 100 test cases. Okay, so manual tester require 8 days to complete 100 test cases and 0 day to complete automation test cases. Why 0 day? So the reason behind that is whenever you have automated all the 100 test cases, then you will schedule it in the midnight. You will schedule it in the midnight, and in a midnight, no one will be working on a midnight basically. So it is basically out of your regular working hours. Okay, so basically like when you are working, so your automation test cases are not running. When you basically when you log off from the work, then after that like at 12 a.m. the automation test cases start running. So during that time, like it saves your time as well as your client time also, and it automate and it will give you the result pass or fail. Whatever the failed test cases you have, you will quickly raise a defect to the developer will fix that, and then it will deliver you the fixes, and you will retest it, and then you will get a quality product. So that is the advantage basically. If you have a manual plus automation skill, then you will analyze like whatever the test cases can be automated and whatever the test cases cannot be automated. Okay, so after the course you will get to know like how we will identify what are the test cases can be automated and what are the test cases cannot be automated. Once you analyze those points, then you will bifurcate your test cases into the two parts, and then you will write a script for the automation of test cases, and then you will do for the manual testing, and then you will give the basically the work which the test lead has given you in a minimum number of times. Okay, so this is all about the introduction part for the manual and automation testing. So do you have any confusion, anyone? Do you have any confusion so far, Fatma or Kajol, anyone?
Like I have a doubt. Like as you
Hmm.
said, there are some cases which we can identify they are manual and as well as automation. How can we identify? Do we have some words or do we have some special cases which can we can easily say that yeah, this is manual, so I need to do this by manual and this automatic. If we do by automatic, as you're saying, it will be take place in midnight. So how is that possible? Like, is there some
So
program
that,
which has a timer which starts executing in the night? What is it? How?
yeah, so that is a part of the course basically. So when you will get enrolled in the course, then automatically you will get to know like how you will basically write the automation script, and then how you will schedule the automation script as per your given time. Okay, so let me give you a small like brief introduction about that, like what you question me. So first question is how you will identify whether like which test case can be automated and which test case can be manual. So basically, first of all, you need to write your test cases. Suppose 200 test cases you have written. Out of 200 test cases, you need to check by your knowledge, by your product knowledge, that how many test cases will be dynamic and how many test cases will be stable. So it will be as per your product knowledge. So what happened in the IT company, basically, when you join a product based company or a service based company, okay, so when you join a product based company, then the company will give you a KT for first 1 month, okay, knowledge transfer to you for first 1 month. After getting the knowledge transfer, you need to hands on the product to understand the each and every functionality of the product. Once you get the basically the knowledge of the product after 2 or 3 months, then only your manager will pitch you in the testing basically department. When you go into the testing department, then you have to write the test cases. So you will write the test cases only if you have a product knowledge, or if you have a software knowledge. Okay, then once you write the test cases, then you need to know like which are the test cases will be dynamic and which are the test cases will be stable. So those stable test cases will be dynamic and which are the test cases will not be dynamic, will be stable. So those stable test cases you can automate. So you have to pick those test cases, and then you have to basically write a automation script by using Java. Okay, once you write the test cases, then you have to schedule it. So there is a tool called as Jenkins. Okay, there is a tool called as Jenkins, which is a part of automation testing, which I will cover you in the next set of course. So Jenkins is a tool basically by which you can schedule your test cases. So when you schedule your test cases on a midnight, so that's why I told you it will take 0 day to automate this, because you are not going to execute those test cases. The automation tool will going to be execute those test cases. Okay, so apart from this, like the stability and the dynamic basically thing, apart from this, there are lots of criteria by which you will get to know like which test case can be automated and which test case can be manually tested. So that are the basically point. So you will get to know more when you get enrolled in the course. Are you getting my?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I think you are clear, Fatma. And do you have any question, Kajol, so far?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So if you guys want to take down this one, so you can take, or otherwise let me know. I will erase this.
I have done writing in
Okay.
Done, sir.
note.
Okay,
Me
fine.
too.
So let me erase this one. Now the next set of part is the development and the testing. So how development and testing is like happening in the IT industry. So there is a basically cycle which I have already covered in the yesterday class, but I am giving you a brief introduction about that. So that is a SDLC. SDLC is a software development life cycle. Software development life cycle. So basically, software development life cycle is an approach basically to develop and test the application. To develop and test the application. So one of the approach about the software testing life cycle is waterfall model. Okay. Second one is your spiral model. Third one is your V model. Fourth one is your prototype model. Fifth one is your hybrid model, and sixth one is your agile model or agile methodology. Okay, so waterfall model basically is a traditional model which is used by very old companies like Philips. They are using the waterfall model and all. So this is a very traditional model in a case of the SDLC. Second is a spiral model. Like spiral model is also not very new, but we can say it's a not very recent model, but it is a very useful model basically. But it has basically waterfall model has some disadvantages. That's why spiral model come into the picture. There is a disadvantage in the spiral also. That's why V model come into the picture, and there is a disadvantage in V model. That's why prototype come into the picture, and the hybrid will come because there has a prototype disadvantage. Apart from this, the agile methodology is one of the latest approach to develop and test the software. It is an iterative approach which is followed by most of the IT companies. Okay, that is the agile model. So let me explain you one by one, like in a very brief manner. Like waterfall model, basically like the requirement will be gathered, and after requirement gathering, like architect will start making the architecture of the software, and Once the architecture will be completed, then the development team will start developing the application, and after that, like, tester will start the testing. Once the development and testing will done, then the product will be given to the customer. So that is one of the part taken care in the waterfall model. Waterfall model means what? It is like a waterfall what you see. So in a Lonavala basically, or in any area basically, if you chance to go to see the waterfall, so waterfall basically is flowing from top to down. It will not flow from bottom to up. So waterfall will always flow from top to down. So similarly in the waterfall model also, like, waterfall model is one of the SDLC approach in which the software development will happen from top to down. So first of all, the requirement gathering section, then the architect section, then the development section, then the testing section, then the maintenance, and then the installation. So all the different stages are there. I will cover in the subsequent course. Next is a spiral model. So a spiral model has a basically four different sections in the spiral model. So a spiral model explains by its name only, like, it develop the software on a basis of the spirals, like on a basis of module. Okay, once the one module of an application is completed, then only the second module will start developing. Then the second is development, the second is completed, then the third will start developing, then the fourth will start. Means the spiral model basically is one of the SDLC approach in which the product will be developed as per the different modules, or you can say features. So suppose, let's take an example of Gmail. So in a Gmail, you have a compose feature, you have an inbox feature, you have a draft feature, you have a lot different number of features are there in the Gmail. So first of all, as per the spiral model, when we take an example of the spiral, so first the compose feature will be developed, then it will be tested. Once the compose feature is developed properly, then the inbox will start developing, and then tested, and then the send item, and then the draft. Like this, the spiral model working. V model basically, it shows like a V. So on a left hand side basically the developer are developing the product, on the right hand side basically the tester are testing the product. So these both development and testing are running simultaneously. But in the V model there is a drawback, like documentation is very high, is very more in the V model. Now in the next thing is prototype model. So prototype model basically, it based on a prototype. Prototype means in a dummy model, dummy application. So before creating a live application, you need to first create a dummy application, and that dummy application will be shown to the customer or the client. If they approve the dummy application, then only you will start the live application. So that is a prototype model. Next is a hybrid model, means it is a combination of above four models. Okay, so you can combine waterfall or spiral model, you can combine waterfall or V model, so it depends up to you. So that is a part of the hybrid model. Okay, so in most of the companies basically, if you take like 5 years ago, so they are using hybrid model only. Okay, but nowadays agile methodology came into the picture. So basically, agile methodology is an iterative process of the software development. Okay. So here in the agile methodology, there are some persons responsible basically to gather the requirement. And once the requirement will be gathered, then the developer and the tester, they both start working together to develop the product as soon as possible. So agile is basically an English word which means a fast development. So agile methodology is a kind of the method by which you can develop the product as soon as possible, or you can develop the product faster as you can. So that's why agile methodology is one of the best methodology what we follow in the software development lifecycle. And most of the IT company will ask you the question about agile methodology only. If you are an experienced person, or if you are putting some experience to go to go before the interview, so in that case, like, the interviewer will ask you which kind of methodology your company follows. So if you tell agile methodology is following in your company, then you should be prepared about the agile methodology. What is a diagram and what is a flow diagram and all. Okay, now the next person, like suppose Kajol is a fresher and she is going to attend one of the interview. So obviously the interviewer will ask you which kind of model you know about more. So if Kajol said waterfall model, So she has to come up with the advantages, disadvantages, and the remaining 7 stages what is available in the waterfall model. So that's why in the basically in the main software testing course, we will start with the manual testing first of all, because if you do not start with the manual testing, then you will not get pitch into the automation testing, because manual testing is the one of the basic thing which is required to get inside the IT company. Okay, so in the manual testing, we will start with the SDLC. Like SDLC is a software development lifecycle, and we will cover one by one. We will cover waterfall model, then spiral, then V, then prototype, hybrid, and agile. After completing these things, we will get to know what developer test and what tester test. Okay, so basically developer has to test something after the coding. So suppose Fatma is a developer, and Fatma has developed a piece of code. So once she develop a piece of code, so after that she need to check whether whatever I have developed that is correct or not. So developer also doing some type of testing, that is called as white box testing, and whatever the tester is doing the testing, that is called as a black box testing. So we will cover those two topics after completing the SDLC. Once we complete this particular thing, then we will get to know what are the different types of white box testing and what are the different types of black box testing. So among the black box testing, suppose you have a 10 different types of black box testing. So among the 10 different black box testing, will be some of the black box testing can be automated. Okay, so that I will tell you, like what are the types of the black box testing can be automated and what are the types of testing cannot be automated. Okay, and after that, like we will go for the software testing life cycle. So in the software testing life cycle, basically we will get to know like how to write the test plan, how to write the test cases, and then basically what is the requirement traceability matrix, what is defect life cycle. So there are lots of things in the manual testing basically, and we will try to complete within 1.5. Okay, so that like basically you will get all the concept, and then after that basically we will have a live project at the end. Okay, we will have a live project at the end. I will give you one application, and inside that application that you will go to the application, you will write a test cases, and then you will execute those test cases in the application, and you will get to know, okay, these test cases are fail and these test cases are pass. And after that also I will explain you about the defect tracking tool, that is Jira. So Jira is also the open platform, open source platform. So you can also create your own account free, and you can practice on the Jira also. So in a basically IT company, what are the things required? So first of our manual testing concept you should require. That is the first prior thing to get inside the IT company. Next one is the second point is the database testing. Database testing concept. Database testing concept. And for that you need to learn SQL. So SQL is a part of the manual testing course. Don't worry about that. Like as for the SQL, you need to enroll another course. So SQL is a embedded course basically within the manual testing. So in a SQL, basically I will give you the SQL knowledge. Like it will take 15 days for the SQL, and 1.5 months basically it will take for the manual testing. So complete, you can say, like in a 2 month you will have a manual testing as well as a database testing knowledge. Okay, so the next point is you have to know defect tracking tool. Okay, and next you have to write test plan and test case. Fifth point is you need to have one of the good SDLC. One SDLC you should know. So I recommend you to have Agile Methodology. Okay, so these things you need to learn before going to any interview. So if you have the concept of these things, so after that I will take you a mock-up interview, and after that when you perform well, so after that you will attain the interview, and then you will get selected easily. Okay, so lots of the students are pleased once after getting the training from me. So lots of the students, they are placed in the basically Zen test, they are placed in the in a basically reflexes. They are placed in the zebra technologies. They are placed in a different gaming like companies, which is in Baner. So lots of students are placed in the Bangalore and the Pune. So there are a huge of opportunities are there for manual testing. So, but before that, you should know all such things first of all, and then you have to attempt the interview. Okay. Any confusion so far? Anyone?
As you said, that Agile is a faster testing in which both the developer as well as tester goes, like they do the things fast. So V model also has the same concept. So what's the difference between that V model and Agile? Like
So
both
V
seems to be
model,
faster.
yeah, yeah, good question. So basically, the V model basically has no iterative process in a V model. Like basically in a V model, what happened? Like the business analyst basically is a person who will go to the client location and gather the requirement. So once the requirement will be gathered, the requirement will be given to the developer. Developer will start developing the application. Okay, so on a same time, like on the other hand, the tester is writing the test cases. Okay, and tester is basically writing the test plan as well. When the tester will get an application, then only the tester will start testing the application. So it means like the V model is not a iterative process. First point. Second point is, in a V model, documentation is very high. Documentation is very high in a V model. So this is the basically these are the disadvantages of the V model, which agile methodology overcome. So in agile methodology, what is the point here? Like in agile methodology, like it is an iterative process. Iterative process means what? Like in agile methodology, there is a term called as sprint. Sprint means duration. Okay. So in a first sprint, suppose you will take 4 requirements. Okay. Suppose you will take compose, inbox, send item, and draft. And suppose you are a developer and Kajol is a tester. Okay, so you both are working in agile methodology. So what you will do, like basically Fatma develop the 4 requirements, and also the Kajol will also testing the requirements what you have developed. Okay, so basically it will only take 2 weeks because it is a case of the sprint. Okay, so once sprint is completed, then the sprint review will be happened, and once the review is completed, then the retrospect meeting. Once all things are done, then the sprint 2 will start immediately. So there is no documentation work, as you can see. Like once you are developing, then the other person is testing also. But in the V model, when the developer is developing, then on the other hand, the tester is writing the test plan and test case. They are not testing the application. Once the developer developed the application, then only the testing will start. Okay, but in the agile methodology, the things are parallel basically, and it is an iterative process. And there are lots of advantages in the agile model methodology when you will get to know basically, when you will get to start learning this agile.
Okay, thank you.
Any other doubt? Anyone?
Like this cycle, every company has to follow, or it's specific, or it's a protocol that everyone has to follow this, all this. Like this cycle is there, as you're saying. That cycle has some steps. Like first we need to develop the code, then it has to be written, then it has to go. Any step by step is there, or just these are just they have to just pass through these models. What is it?
Like yes, as I explained you, like in a waterfall model there are 7 stages. Okay, so question is your, like, is every IT company follow the SDLC? Answer is yes. Every IT company follow software development lifecycle. Okay, for the development and testing the product. Once this thing will be completed, then the product will be given to the client. That is the approach every company follows. Second question is, like, is every SDLC approach has different stages? Yes, they have their own different stages. Like in a waterfall model, there are 7 stages. In a spiral model, there are 4 stages. In a V model, there are, I think, 10 stages. In a prototype model, there are 10 stages. In a hybrid model, the same what the before as, and in the agile methodology there is 6 stages basically. So there are different stages are there, okay, in each SDLC, like the same way like the development will happen, like it is the process basically. Like first of all requirement will be gathered. Now in the next step basically the basically the architecture will start, okay. Then after that the development will start, then the high level design, low level design, like this, and then the testing will start, then the maintenance and the installation. So there are different steps involved in the SDLC. So you will get to know when I will start the waterfall model, then the spiral, then the V model ethics, and all these things. So yeah, this is the answer of your question. Yeah. Any other question?
That's it for now.
Okay. Okay. So Kajul, do you have any other question?
No, sir, nothing.
Okay, fine. So I think this is a complete introduction of the manual testing. So after this, like we will start the real-time course. Like we will start with the SDLC, and after that we will start with the waterfall model, and then the plan I have already shared with you, like how we will go. Once the manual testing is done with SQL, then we will start Java. Okay, then we will start Java. Once you will like expert in Java, then we will start Selenium. Okay, once the Selenium is done, then you will be a very technical person. Then you will be called as a very technical person because you know manual testing, you know programming language, as well as you know Selenium also. So if you know all these three things, then you will be a good technical person, and you will go and give interview in any company. Okay, you can give interview in basically Barclays, you can give interview in Google, Facebook. So it depends on the calls. If you get an interview call, then you will crack it. But you need to give 4 hours daily. You need to give 4 hours daily. You have to work very hard on a manual testing and a automation testing. Okay, but it is a basically it is a matter of only 3 or 4 months. If you work hard for 3 or 4 months, definitely you will get a job. No one will stop you for getting the job, and a good job, I say, like good package and good job, and you will get a good growth basically. Okay. So yeah, I think this is done from my side. If you want to highlight anything in this demo session, so you are free to highlight any points. Okay, so I think you are good. You are good with this particular demo session. So let me stop the recording.